Okay, so welcome everybody. Oh, we are recording. Yeah, so today we're going to have a look at galleries and portfolios and how you can make those work for you online. I was kind of thinking when I put this together that there's lots of different courses where you might need to either build a portfolio of work to show to an examiner or just to collate as part of an assessment. And then there's also the aspect of this, which is students may want to collate a portfolio of work which they can then use to move on to the next stage of education or to get a job even. And then there's the aspect of how you might also want to have some kind of gallery going on, be it a class gallery in a primary school up to a degree show gallery exhibition, because we can't do that live at the moment. So I'm going to try and look at products that may help with all of those things. The things that you need to consider when you're looking for a tool to help you with a portfolio or a gallery is the ability to work. The first one is collaborative working. So if you think about this, it doesn't matter how brilliant the portfolio looks if you can't get into it as a teacher to market. So if a student builds a portfolio, you want to be able to go in and have a look at it as they're creating it and review it and mark it and what have you. So that's one issue. And you might feel that, like, if say you were doing I know, for example, I've got a son who's doing A-level graphics, and he's building his portfolio for the whole course. So the whole 2 years builds into one portfolio, which he's done in Wix. And that isn't shareable with the teacher until it's published. However, the teacher they share passwords with the teachers, and the teacher goes in and has a look using the student's password, as it were. So the teacher sets it all up for them, and that's how they do it. And they feel that the effort of having to use the different passwords outweighs the fact that they're creating a professional website. And it works really well. It's a great system, works for them. So the next thing to worry about is, whereas if you were going to want to go in and out every day, you might want something that you can just access from your login, where you're not constantly working with other people's logins. The next thing is shareability. How easy is it to be shared with examiners or the public? So even though I think Class Notebook is brilliant, I've deliberately left it off this presentation because in most cases, and I know at Scarborough Tech and at Giphy, we can't share Class Notebooks external to the organisation. So if you have built your portfolio of work in Class Notebook, which is perfect for it, it may be that within your organisation you can't share that at the end. We are actually looking at trying to address this issue within our organisation because it is so brilliant for courses like health and social care, where it's kind of like you want a private portfolio between you and the teacher, but then you are going to have to share it with one other people at some point for it to be kind of second marked or whatever. Class Notebook is great for that. So, but again, shareability, if you're looking to create something that can then be looked at by, the whole world scenario, a website, essentially, you need to look at shareability when it's finished. The next one is professionalism. Does it do the job that you want? If you're making a portfolio to get a job, you want something that's going to look pretty professional. And you're probably looking at more like a website than a presentation at that point. And the next one is ease of use. Can the student use it? So we're going to cover some things that are maybe aimed at older students, down to things that can be managed by anybody who's over, say, 6 or 7 can still manage to use it. Right, so the tools that I'm going to look at are Wix and Wordpress, which are web design tools, and ArtStep, which is a gallery tool, and Canva, Sway, which are both kind of presentation tools, and then Wayclip, which really is just a resource collation tool, but still really, really useful, especially for collaboration. Sorry, I'm whizzing around now. Wix is the first one we'll look at. So you've probably all heard of Wix because I think they advertise on TV, and it's a free website building tool. So, and it's great if you don't know how to code websites, which most people don't. It will allow you to make a website from templates that's used quite a lot by small businesses. It's relatively easy to use. It's easy to use in comparison to building a website any other way. It's not easy to use in comparison to, say, Sway or some of the Microsoft tools. It does require, there's a little bit of work to learn it. It is suitable, I think, for kind of 16-year-olds plus probably, and probably, you know, anybody who's got an interest in web design who's younger than that would manage it as well. For a web design tool, it's pretty easy to use, and it works using, it's template driven and it's kind of drag and drop. So it works how children these days expect stuff online to work, so there's no shocks with it. And the result looks really professional. And it's also a great skill to develop, to be able to understand what a website is and, you know, consider the publishing process and things like that and actually getting stuff online. The cons are that it's trickier than Sway. And as I mentioned before, you can't collaborate in that more than one person can't work on the site with different logins. So you can't kind of share it with somebody until it's been published, and once it's published it's live on the web. So if you want to, if you need to wait until it's been marked or whatever, it's not that great for that. And the website for this is Wix, and I'll show you my I've not set up an awful lot. The Wix, I've never used it before. The first time I opened it was yesterday just to have a look at this. It's you can create as many sites as you want within this one login. So this is my site that I started yesterday. If you have a look at the site actions, I'm going to go back and do a bit more editing on it. It's going to take it does. There's a bit of a wait time for it to actually find my site and make it ready for me. They've done a nice little graphic for me though. I'll just wait and see if that will work. I'm a bit concerned some of these tools won't work that well while I'm on a Teams call, because it's quite a lot of processing power. Little wait. I'll leave that out. We'll have a look at the rest of the dashboard. So if you wanted to create a new, you could create, I think, a new site at any point by being under My Sites. I didn't find it that hard to get started with. It's pretty much create a new site, click on that button, and it kind of asks you at that point. This is probably going to start up that GIF loading again. It starts by asking you which template you would like to use. Has it loaded this one? No. I think we'll give up on having a look at the editor. There's not a lot to show you. I can explain it to you pretty much. So when you get in, you click on the create new site. It will start by offering you templates, and you choose one. And the templates have been categorized into things like portfolios or a business site, or do you know what I mean? And lots more as well. So you can find one that pretty much will look like what you want your site to be like. And just at this point to say that the massive advantage of having a website over a presentation like Sway or Canva or PowerPoint presentation is that a presentation is linear in that it has slides that you work through in a linear way, whereas a website has got some element of navigation with it. So you could, for example, I could call my site, you know, Rebecca Riley graphic design, whatever, and then within that I could have a page or a section for each of my projects, and when they're clicking that project I could have a new set of navigation in there. So the navigation within websites is relatively limitless. You can have it however you want it to be navigation wise, whereas if you're using a Sway, for example, it works one slide after another. So you know, you have to bear that in mind, in that it's not going to have a navigational structure within it. I'm going to have to abandon Wix, I think. Should we say that we should put that on the cons, that there's a lot of processing with it. WordPress is really similar to Wix. You will definitely have heard of WordPress because it was a massive blogging site. There's two versions of WordPress. There's WordPress.com and there's WordPress.org. wordpress.org. WordPress.com does still have a free version, but it does take a lot of fiddling with to get it to get the free version. So stick to your guns and don't pay anything, and you will get the free version in the end. So WordPress is a free website building tool again. So it's very similar to Wix. It works slightly differently with the templates. It feels like it's got a you can start out with this kind of template driven way of working, where it's stage 1 do this, stage 2, do you know what I mean? And the quick start guide takes you through, so it's really easy to get going with compared to Wix, I find. But I think later on, when you try to do tricky stuff with it, Wix is easier to do, like a bigger site with, is what I've been led to believe. It's trickier than Sway, as I've said. There is a lot of pressure to upgrade, but lots of people create great sites with it. Let's have a look at it. It's wordpress.com. Right, so this is opening a lot better, and I did start creating my site. The first thing that's different between WordPress and Wix, in that WordPress you kind of register your name and that becomes your domain name, so you only create one website per login to WordPress, if that makes sense. So you get one website. I guess you could log in again with a different name, and that, so when you first start, it asks you what you want your domain name to be, and then it immediately starts trying to sell you a package to attach to that domain name, but it will let you have an individualized domain name on the WordPress server that you don't have to pay for, which is what I've gone for. So I'm Rebecca Riley 989475441.wordpress. It's nice, it's an easy one to remember. So, but for students it's fine. So I've started my setup using the quick start guide, and I've created a site and I've named my site. I'm now going to choose a theme. So I think this to me feels easier to understand what you're doing, and I just need to choose one that looks like something that I might create for a portfolio. Let's try, should I try this one? I'll try that one. I should have practiced this to prove I knew how to do it. That looks right to me. So that's a reader. Do I click on write? Looks like a nice oh, activate this design for free. That will be me. I'll go with that, the top option. And that should give me a site that I can then edit. This might be the big processing point, we'll see. Hey, so I've got a new site. Welcome to my website. This might be just some edit. So there's lots of help on how to use it here, which is great. How do we start then? Should have read it. Welcome to your new site. You can edit this page by clicking on the edit link. That'll be that one, won't it? Yeah, we're going to edit it. Okay, let's edit it. Oh, I see. Oh, I'm off. I can just do it. So you just click and change the text. Click on the text above it and it will let me change that. And where do I find my next pages? I think we're working. This would be my next page to edit, I guess, and then you should be able to preview it to see what it looks like. And it's given me page. Oh, and it's already added in a blog and about and a contact. Designing a website, it's not, you know, it's not as easy as lots of other stuff that we do on the computer, but I think I think it's feasible for an older student to do on their own, and there is so much help on YouTube, etc., on how to do this. There are people who've put on an entire, hours tutorial on how to use this, so I'm not going to go through any more of it now, other than that's kind of like, it's template based, so you always get a good design. and it gives you instructions on how to get started. So it's pretty easy. And when you publish it, they give you a domain name and it's live on the web with that domain name, and you can share that domain name to people like you share any other website. Right, let's have a look at it. That was WordPress. So these, I think, are really WordPress and Wix. I would recommend for students who are making a, perhaps HEFE students who are on maybe a design course and are looking to create a portfolio of their work that they can share, if they're going on to university or if they're looking for a job in that field. They're great for that. Art Steps is a bit of an unusual one. I don't know if anybody's come across this before. Art Steps is an online virtual gallery that allows you to actually create a VR gallery of your students' work. So it might be something that a student makes, but it might be more likely to be someone who runs an art course that wants to do an end of year degree show. So say, for example, you're teaching on an art course and you're not going to be able to have an end of year show because of COVID, then this would be a possible replacement or even a complement for people who can't come to the actual show. So I guess if you're actually putting up a physical show, you could video it and that would make more sense, but you could, so this is like a virtual version. It's not as hard as it looks. I have created a show with this before, but it will take a little bit of time to get used to. And it does have this quick start guide, which is a great help. It does look very professional and it does offer that kind of gallery experience, but it's more suited for a final art show than like a portfolio or something. Right, let's have a look at it. I should have said, if you want to stop me and ask any questions, feel free, I don't mind at all. Right, so I'm not going to go through the process of creating an exhibition. I'm just going to show you the ones that it already has online, so we can have a look at it. We should have a look at this digital art exhibition. So it's got some kind of examples, and you just click on the create button to start creating, and pretty much you choose the kind of art gallery that you want to have, whether it's like an old-fashioned art gallery, a modern art gallery building, and then you upload your pictures and the information about the pictures, and it does the rest for you. So it's not as difficult as the results might suggest. It's doing lots of downloading. So when it actually, zero remaining. Oh, right. So you can walk through by clicking forward, and you can navigate around the images. I'm really rubbish at computer gaming, so I can't even operate a Mario Kart, so I'm struggling. Hang on, here we go. Move forward with my mouse. Oh, I'm looking down, looking up. So you can kind of see what it's trying. Even though I'm rubbish, you can. Oh, there we go. You do the other way, don't you? So these could essentially, these graphics that are on the wall, you could replace those with your students' work if it was a degree show. And you can, there's even, I think, a way of, I think if you click on them, it tells you about them, or you can put little plaques next to them. So there is a way of saying who designed it and putting little nameplates next to it, which aren't on this demonstration one. I really am rubbish at navigating these, sorry. Ooh, It looks like I've hit the wine table when I've arrived at the gallery here. I'm just staggering around, people worrying about their artwork there. I'm not going to embarrass myself anymore by proving I can't do this. Oh. It's really glitchy because I'm on the Teams call. It works a lot smoother under, normal circumstances. Oh, look, there's some writing on the wall telling you about the exhibition here. So I've actually found that. I just get totally disorientated whenever I enter stuff like this. It doesn't make any sense to me for some reason. We used it. We used it for the art degree show last year, and everybody loved it. It was great. It worked really, really well. get away from that. That's art steps. The next one we're going to look at is Canva. I don't know if anybody's used Canva, and I've totally forgotten about it. It was for creating graphics, for online graphics, and you can still use it for that. Obviously, that ability is still in it, but you can also create a like a presentation. So, and it's kind of splitting that difference between Sway, where you don't really get any control over the design, and PowerPoint, where you have too much control over the design in that you can do anything you want, but with the added advantage that you can share it for collaboration. So essentially, much like a Sway, you can start creating a Canva and then share it at any point with someone else privately before you make it public. So that's really good for either creating something in collaboration with your colleagues or or groups of students, or sharing it kind of with your teacher for review or marking. I'd say it's suitable from secondary up. It's not really a primary school tool, isn't this one? And it would also be good for FE and sixth form, that kind of age group. It's really similar to Sway, and it is a presentation, so it is linear from slide 1 through to slide whatever. It doesn't have any navigation within it. There's lots of choice, and the big advantage is the sharing and the collaboration. It's a little bit trickier than Sway and Wayclip, but it's by no means really hard. So let's have a look at, see what I was doing in this. So have I actually created a design? Maybe not. So you can create posters, flyers, infographics, which are graphics that go on the internet, and resumes, but the one that we're interested in is presentations. So we're going to have a go at creating a presentation. And it works on a template-based system. Sway works by you add all the content in first and then you apply a design to it at the end, whereas this works the opposite way around, which lots of people like because it's more controllable, in that you choose a template and build from the template. So a little bit more like PowerPoint, I guess, and then you can choose the template that you like. Let's have a look. Something that, I might make this one with bananas. And then, I've actually chosen one to do with cooking, but not to worry, it's fine. And then you can choose the things that you would like to, the pages that you would like to use. So I can either apply all 10 pages, so I've got all 10 templates, or I can just choose one of them to work with. So if I like this one, and then once I've got it here in my presentation, so this becomes my first slide, it already has an animation on it, which I'm guessing I can remove if I want to. You can edit this by clicking on it. I write the same thing in all of them. I could change the text here to be something more appropriate, and I'm guessing I can. No, I can't remove that, sorry, because that's a thing, so that was a bad example. Let me add a slide that has an image on it instead. These all seem to be animated, but you can go back to different presentations and add a different one in from a different slide. So let's try this one. This is elegant. Oh, is this pro? Do I have to pay for it? Yes, I imagine so. So lots of it's free. Some of it is, usually if it has a crown on it, means that you have to pay. So I'm going to add it as a new page, which means it should keep my old page, and I'll have 2 slides now in my portfolio. So and then again, I should be able to edit this to be whatever I like. I do think with these template ones, you're best off starting with something that looks vaguely like what you're looking for. And then I should be able to add, I liked this slide, but I don't actually want any of these, but I would like to add in a picture instead. But there's lots of cute little icons, which are all editable individually, as you see. And then I think I can upload, oh, I've already uploaded some pictures, so I'll say I'm going to use this one here. So it's just a drag and drop. And I just did that by Upload Media and just got them off my computer. So I've managed to add a picture in there. And then if I play it to present it, let's have a look what it looks like. So that looks pretty. Can I go back to the last slide? So this was the first slide with the bowl with the animation on that we couldn't edit because it was like the whole thing was based around it. Still might be useful. And the next slide was the one where I did actually manage to change it to be what could be the start of my portfolio kind of thing. And if I wanted to share that, I can just share it with the people in my, I could share it with other people to edit. You can actually just pick up a link to edit here. So I copy the link and that would be the link to, and I could send that link out to other people and they would be able to log in and edit this with me. I think they'll probably need to create their own Canva account to do that. And if I go on to present, and I think that's where you pick up the, oh there, share a link to view. I can copy the link there and that's actually the link to the finished presentation. So if you don't want someone to be able to edit it, that's the one to use there. So that's Canva, and it's a bit of a funny one because I'm not sure many people use it, but it does have that. The thing that people complain about with PowerPoint is it's not online. It doesn't exist on an online server when you create PowerPoint. You can, of course, share it from your OneDrive, and that works great if your OneDrive is available externally, which if you've got a private OneDrive, it is. Sway is brilliant for sharing because it's on an external server, so it's available to anybody in the world. You just have to give them the link. But Sway is not as flexible as PowerPoint design wise, and PowerPoint maybe doesn't have as. This has got slightly more stylish templates and what have you. Maybe it really depends what you're looking for. They're all, in their own way, they're all great products. It's just looking for the one that's going to work for you, and Canva's just another option. Right. I like that on Canva you can choose, you don't choose a template for the entire design, you choose a template for each slide. So you can have every slide different if you want to, which appeals to me. Sway, I've mentioned Sway loads already. I've created my presentation in a Sway, I use it all the time, find it to be really easy to use. And it's great. So Sway is what they call an online storytelling tool. So it does do a linear presentation, but it's a storytelling tool because it you create the story first. So you create the storyline, that's called storyline, and the content is essentially added first, and then the design is applied afterwards. This kind of like replicates the process of web design, in that in web design you tend to create your content first and then you transform it with CSS to create a design. So I can see how it's working, and I like that. It makes it quite easy to use, and if you have students that are getting bogged down with the design and what it should look like, this is a great way of getting around that and focusing on the content, not on what it looks like. So if your students maybe aren't design students, they might really like Sway. If your students are design students, they might feel that Sway is really restrictive. I don't know. So it's really easy. I've got a 10-year-old daughter who does everything in Sway. She finds it really easy to use. It looks really great. when you've made them. There's just not a lot of control over the layout, and it is linear. Let's have a look at creating a sway. And I thought I would look at this from the perspective of more like a portfolio of like project work in a primary school maybe. So what I've said is that I have created this sway here of based on World War II evacuees. So I've put a few slides in, and the great thing with this is that I can share it then with my students. So I've duplicated this enough times to have one for each of my students, which I only have 2. I have Tom and Martha, and then I've shared with them the code to edit it. Oh, sorry, someone asking a question.
Hi, yes, sorry, no, it was just going back to that Canva. Can you import a ready-made PowerPoint into Canva and convert it?
I don't know, to be honest. Possibly. I don't know. I've not tried. I can't really see there would be. I'm not sure why you would want to do that if it's already in PowerPoint. Because you could just, unless you were just looking for somewhere to share your PowerPoint. I think you would be better off if you were looking to, you would be better off importing it into a Sway if it was just that you wanted to be able to share your PowerPoint more easily. I think Sway would be the way to go for that.
It was just the creativity to make it look a little bit nicer.
I think it would be a nightmare to deal with, because it would import all of the style from the PowerPoint and get mixed up with it. Do you know what I mean? I don't think you will be able to reapply a style on top of slides that were already PowerPoint. So even if it did let you import it, I've got a feeling it wouldn't let you import from PowerPoint at all. Sorry, I'd have to look into that. I'll have to leave a message underneath the meeting afterwards when I've investigated that for you.
Okay, thank you. Because you can do it with Sway. You can import it into
You
Sway.
can, yeah, you can with Sway, but and it does absorb some of the design, doesn't it, when you import it into Sway? Yeah. I'll have a look for you and I'll let you know. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so what I was thinking with this was looking at something to do with the shareability and, you know, sharing with students, as it were. So within this, I've created this, you know, about World War II, and then I've sent the, instead of sharing the, I've shared it to the students, but I've given them the ability to edit it using this button on the share. And then this student has added their content in. So if you were, say, teaching primary or secondary and you wanted them to use this as a portfolio for a project, you could then prompt them with add your images here, and they can add in the images. And it's really easy to do, in that you just, wherever you want it, you click on the one above it, press on the plus, and then say what you want to add. If it's an image, add an image like this, and then pick it off your local drive or choose one off the web. So if I'll just pop in one of those pictures we were using earlier to show you how easy it is to do. And then when you play it, they can also add in, text. So on this one, I've asked them to add some text, and on this one, it happens to be an image of a poem, but they could add in any kind of image or video that they wanted, or link to anything that's on the web, and then it plays it into quite a nice presentation because it's in Sway, so it looks quite nice straight away, and it is then available to anybody on the web, so you could share it with parents, for example. The other way of using Sway is obviously as a just as a gallery, and it works actually quite well, especially, you know, if you just want to show off the images. So in this, I've just put image cards in and said that the name of the person, the child who did the picture, and when you play this, it works pretty well as an art show just by clicking through the pictures. And considering how easy it was, it's a pretty good result. Available online, could be shared over a newsletter to parents to show off the students' work. It would work fine for that. if you want to change the design of a sway, when you've added, I've showed you how to add the cards in, you can just have a look at the design and the styles, and then you can choose a style that is suitable for you. So you can either have a vertical scroll on it, a horizontal scroll, or you can work through slides. I had mine set at slides. I'll change it to vertical, and you can of course change the design layout. Not all of them work for every type of content particularly well, but you can have a view. So that's a different way. Let's play that one. So you can see how easy it is to change the design of a sway, and that's why they're so great and easy to use and give a nice result. They do work really, really well. That's sways. You can, although sway is linear, you can create a navigation within it. It does kind of create its own navigation. If you look down here on this sway that we're in at the moment, I can navigate to different sections of the sway by clicking here. And if you look at it, because I've used heading ones for each of the tools that I'm going to have a look at, it's created quite a nice navigation for me along here, but it is still linear on kind of like a timeline. It is a story in that it starts at the start and ends at the ends, and there's no kind of like branching off in a sway. You can add a little bit of branching and a little bit of navigation by embedding one sway in another sway. So you could have a main sway and then add lots of other sways in it, and that would create some navigation. Or even use a don't know how to get out of this now. Oh, it must be this cross. Or even create a Wayclip and embed sways into your Wayclips. That would work. And we are going to look at Wayclip next. So I'm guessing lots of people have used Wayclip because it is so useful for so many things. And what it is it kind of creates a web page of lots of different links and files that you add to it. And I would say that Wayclip is really easy. Key Stage 2 should manage it, but it's also, you know, it's useful for everybody. Lots of teachers use it to teach from. So it lets you collate stuff together and show it online. The pros of it is that it's easy to use, and the really massive advantage is that if you want to use it for collaboration and share it with your students, they don't need an Office 365 login, and they don't need to log into Wayclip to participate. You share the link with them, and then when they open the link, it will ask them for their nickname, and then they can just do it. So it works a bit like, if anybody's used Kahoot, you don't need to have logged into Kahoot or create an account or anything like that. You just need the link, and then you just add in your nickname and you go. And that's pretty much how Wayclip works as well. I guess the cons are that it's not really a presentation software. It is for collating resources, and that's what it's really great at. So it might feel when you're viewing it a little bit more clunky than, say, for example, a sway, which does naturally transform your information into a nice presentation for you. Let's have a look at Wayclip. So you'll tell by this that I use Wayclip for just about everything. It is shareable online or privately to individual people. So the sharing options and the collaboration options on this are great. And we use it a lot for creating little bits of e-learning where we might have, say, this gaskets one, a video on how to use gaskets, and then an embedded form with assessment on how to use gaskets, and then embed the whole Wayclip into our VLE, which happens to be Canvas, and you've created essentially your own piece of online learning. So that's kind of what we use it for at Scarborough Tech a lot, but you can use it for lots of other stuff. So to create a new collection, we'll start here, and I'm going to say, we'll call it Our Pictures. Pictures we like. It's a bit naive, sorry. And what you could do is share this with your students and ask them to collaborate. You probably want a bit more information. So let's say grab an image from the web and load it here. So, so you can, if you want to share this with your students and ask them to collaborate, you probably want a bit more information. So let's say grab an image from the web and load it here. So, so you can, if you want to share this with your students and ask them to collaborate, you probably want a bit more information. So let's say grab an image from the web and load it here. So And how the students could participate. If you were just creating this, you would just add things in by clicking on these plus signs, and you can add in a URL, a piece of text, a YouTube, and it will embed that nicely by, just put the normal YouTube link in. It will do a nice embed for you. Tweets, bookmarks, images, uploaded PDFs, and even videos using I think it uses the Flipgrid short functionality to add a video in as well. But the way that you might like to use it is to I'm going to make it public. I'm going to say I've done that now, and then I'm going to share it. So we've not added anything yet, but you would normally share it using the share if you just want people to view it. But I'm going to invite you to participate in this by using the invite code and copying the link. I'm going to pop it in the chat, and I'm going to invite you to just download an image from the web and upload it to here to see how easy it is to participate. So if you use that link that I've just put in the chat of the Teams meeting, we should be able to see them appearing on my screen when you've done it. If anybody's up for having a go, I'll go do it. Shall I unshare? Is that confused? No, I'll let you. Julia, you all right?
So I haven't got a little chat box.
Oh, haven't you?
No, not along the top.
It's
random.
Oh, so you've got, it should be between the hand and the little people, or you maybe don't get the people. Is it not there? Has anybody else got it? I think it's maybe because you're not part of the team. That's all I can think. But you should be in the team.
Mine's the same, Rebecca.
Oh, this isn't going to work then, is it? Don't worry.
I think it depends whether you've logged in from your Loughborough College team site, or if you've actually switched onto the Giphy team site.
Oh, that will be what it is. Yeah, if you haven't changed them, is it called? Can't remember what it's called. Residency, is it? I can't even remember the word. Oh, don't worry, don't worry. We won't try that, but you can kind of, I'll demonstrate it by using that link in a so I'm in a private browser, so I'm not logged in anywhere. And if I paste that link now, the first thing it will do is say, so you just can put your name in here, and I guess you can advise your students if you want them to use the full name for security. It depends what age you're working with, I guess. And then it will let me participate. So it's got my photo on because I created it, not because it's me. So it's giving me some instructions on how to get started, which is handy because it thinks I've never used it before, and it's going to ask me to add an image. So I'm going to upload one of my images that I've been using. And then when I've done that, I can just say I've done it, and that's fine. And if I close this hidden browser and go back to my original Wayclip and refresh it, it should have got that picture by now. So I'm back in teacher mode, not student mode now. And Rebecca has added a picture. So can you kind of get what I mean about how you could, if you sent this out to your whole class and said, that piece of work you were working on last week, upload me a picture into this Wayclip, you can collect them all together and they can all see each other's, and then if they want they can comment underneath other people's pictures. So it's great for a little bit of collaborative working, for perhaps, you know, critiquing artwork or something like that. So that's Wayclip. So although this doesn't, I mean, this is it how we view it, and it's not, it doesn't look as nice as a Sway, but it is very functional, and the you know, the sharing and the collaboration is really great. Okay, then that's about it that I wanted to say. Has anybody got any questions or anything they want to say about that? Does anybody work with, what kind of students do you work with? Does anybody work with art students or design students?
No.
No. It is. I've focused a little bit on art, but you know, we do, obviously I do understand that you build portfolios in other subjects, and the you know, the Sway and the Wayclip are obviously great for building. You know, if I was saying, you know, build a portfolio to do with for, you know, health and social care or whatever it is, I would be maybe aiming more at a Wayclip, because it's just so easy to use and works so well and is great for collaboration. So that's, you know, one of my favourite tools.
I do events management degrees, and that's got quite a lot of creative elements when they're talking about theming and styling an event. And I think the WordPress sounds like a really good option for them to build a portfolio of work.
Yeah, the website was the great thing about creating it in WordPress and Wix is that you've kind of got it for, like, you know, if they set it up, they've got it forever, and they can just, if there's anything that, you know, they can keep adding to it as their portfolio. Do you know what I mean? As they go on, if they move into work afterwards, they can keep the student bits that they liked and just keep adding to it with their new, you know, new projects that they work on, which is what I kind of like about it. Because I mean, I did, you know, design, and you were carrying essentially, you know, like a folder with your pieces of work in everywhere that you went. Even though I did, you know, graphics, so there's no reason these days you would never do that for graphic design. You would have it all online. Even if you had drawn it by hand, you'd be scanning it in, wouldn't you? So,
but I think the skill of creating a website as well is invaluable, especially for students that are nearing the end of their education.
Yeah, I think it is as well, and it's strangely something that nearly everybody ends up doing at some stage in their life, because, you know, if you're going to become self-employed, you're going to need a website, and if you're going to set up a small business selling stuff, you can do a website. The great thing with WordPress and Wix is that they've got add-ins that you can add in. So if you decide you're going to have, you know, like an online shop or something, you can add that in at a later date, and add your products to it. And it's not that hard to sort out, and it deals with lots of issues like, you know, how you're going to take your payments and things like that. And these are all, you know, having worked as a, you know, a web designer for years and years and years, these are the issues that people have, in that if you go to a web developer and say, can you develop me a website, it's literally thousands, and the product that you'll get will be totally overkill for a small business. What you need is a Wix or a WordPress, essentially. So yeah, and I've noticed that there's lots of web design people out there just really selling WordPress products that they've edited for you. So that's quite a big interim solution for people. Obviously, Wix and WordPress they're not web development, they're web design. You don't have to code them. WordPress does allow you a little to get into the code if you want to break it. So at least as you have it. But it's so yeah, which is usually what I do. So I seem to think I remember how to code HTML a lot better than I do. So yeah, but
is this recorded? Because I missed the beginning, so I missed that about WordPress. Yeah,
I have recorded it, and I'll pop it under. Actually, I'll just stop the recording now, and I'll